Welcome, welcome. Today the cheapest spotlight, all new from Aneng. Well, let's call it one of those upgrades, shall we? The Aneng AN101 Mini Digital Multimeter. I like to call it my little pocket rocket. And boy, is this thing tiny! I didn't get a box, didn't get much, didn't even get a manual. It shipped in this bubble wrap, and it tells us simply AN101, Shenzhen Yucheng United. And yeah, mom's your uncle, or whatever that means. But, well, there you go. We do get this pretty nice little plastic or translucent enclosure with the meter, and of course those minuscule little test leads. Those test leads are minuscule. They are so tiny, it's almost unbelievable. Probably about 1.5 feet in length, about 45 centimeters or so, so you don't have a lot to work with. The connectors here, look at how tiny they are. Look at that. It's like something from Legoland. I mean, but, and I will say but, the leads themselves do seem to be of decent quality. They pass the proverbial pull test, and all in all, I think they're going to be just fine. The original Aneng, as you can see, does not have the following: no frequency, no capacitance, and no NCV. So really, you're getting a lot more bang for the buck, and don't even get me started on that buck. This has got to be the cheapest meter I have purchased in a long, long time. Paid $11 Canadian shipped from AliExpress, and I understand it's even been cheaper since I purchased it about a month ago. So, whoa, Aneng, you are letting this one go for a fantastic price. Something else I'm really happy is the fact that this case is not permanent, so the meter will come out of the case. Give it a little yank like so, and it is free. Gotta say though, the case itself, nice and really good quality. I'm actually impressed. Not as cheesy as I was expecting. No, just the opposite. I think that mended seam as well is pretty decent, and it's going to last a long time. So, and you know what? There's a bonus to this case, which I'll point out in just a little while. Other nice feature is the fact that those test leads are non-captive. They're not permanently attached to the meter like so many pocket meters are. No, you can plug and play, and man, they are in there firm and tight. They're not going anywhere. So kudos, Aneng, for not giving us a captive lead setup. And here's an example of a couple of meters that have those captive test leads. Basically the same size, but you have the test leads attached to the body of the meter. They can't come out. Well, I mean, you can desolder them, but it would make no sense, right? Not so with the Aneng. As well, size-wise, that Aneng, very, very much in tune with the others. Almost identical. Perhaps a tiny bit bigger by a fraction of a millimeter or so. Now I'm curious, so let's take a look with our digital caliper and see what we've got. So lengthwise, we are at 10.96 millimeters spot on. Compare that to the Sanwa. Sanwa, we are at 10.78, so a tiny bit smaller, the Sanwa. And the Unity is at 10.91. So lengthwise, by 2 millimeters, the Aneng is a little bit longer. And if we want to make sure I set that back to 0, there we go. 10.7 for the Aneng. 8.7 for the Sanwa. And 11.6 for the Unity. So in terms of thickness, the Unity is the thickest, while the Aneng is the middle ground, and the Sanwa is the thinnest. And take a look at those test leads, all three lined up side by side, Sanwa in the middle, and the Sanwa is the only one that has the gold-tipped leads. And I gotta say, those Sanwa leads are phenomenal. Once again, we have all three of these test leads lined up, and here at the top is the Aneng, and look at that, it is the smallest of the three, followed by the Unity, and the Sanwa is the longest test lead of the bunch. Looking at the rotary selector switch as well, right in the middle, the Aneng is the largest of the bunch by 39 millimeters, followed by 36 and 36 for both the Unity and the Sanwa. So a tiny bit larger, which when it comes to selector switches might actually be a good thing. Hopefully you can see those nice big grooves on the Aneng as well. That selector switch has a lot of tactile feel because of it. If we compare it to the Sanwa, for instance, a lot smoother, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to one-hand, especially with the gloves on, probably going to be a little bit easier to do with the Aneng. Unity much resembles the Aneng in terms of the selector switch. The grooves aren't quite as defined, but nonetheless, pretty well one and the same. Look at the size of those displays. Quite a different range, considering they're all pretty well the same size pocket meter. Unity itself, really nice display. Big, bold, and so easy on the eyes. One thing to take note is neither of these meters has a backlight, so that display is really critical. All LCD, all liquid crystal displays, but definitely all done in a different way. Aneng in the middle here, smallest of the three in terms of the font size. Nonetheless, it is crisp, it is easy on the eyes, perhaps a tad small for some people. I find it okay, and once again, I do like the fact that it is pretty vibrant looking even without a backlight. The Sanwa here on the far right, probably the least impressive of the three displays. Nonetheless, it does have a nice size font, not as bright or crisp as the Unity, but fairly large. You decide, hey, what do you think is better? So if I had to pick a winner in terms of display overall, I'd probably go with the Unity just because it's so easy on the eyes. Something else that is really important for a lot of people when it comes to making a purchasing decision is the price. And truth be told, the Aneng is definitely the cheapest. Like I said, 11 bucks Canadian, around what is that, $7, $8 US? Absolutely incredible price for a test instrument. Unity, second in terms of overall value, cost me about $25 or so Canadian, around 20 bucks US. Still not bad. I have seen this go up in price a little bit, but nonetheless, if you're a pretty good buyer beware, you can find it for around $20, $25. Sanwa, most expensive out of the three. This one retails for around $50 US, around 75 or so Canadian. You're wondering, the Sanwa is the heaviest meter of the bunch, just by a tiny bit, but it is nonetheless the one that weighs the most. Aneng and Unity not far behind. And I'd probably say these are neck and neck in terms of overall weight and feel. Generally, though, all feel really good in the hand, all definitely pocketable. And I was talking about that little extra surprise with that case, and what I meant by surprise, well, I mean surprise. Hey, if you have a Sanwa, for instance, you want to have a nice hardcover case for your Sanwa, guess what? That Aneng case will fit beautifully. Oh, yeah. But anyway, look at this. Looky, looky. Yeah, that's right. It fits the Sanwa to a T. Close it up, and bada boom, bada bing, you have got a really nice, modern-looking case for your Sanwa multimeter. And something else that's cool, do you notice anything? That's right, you can actually take readings with the case closed. Yes, they've actually made this part here clear. So, added protection and a lot of versatility. Okay. All new for 2024, this week's Shootout, Peru! Hola, amigos! Thanks for watching. Checking out that DC accuracy right now. Here we are, 5.00 is what we want to see. 5.01 is what we get. Remember that display is 4,000 counts. By the way, I don't know if you can tell or not, but the tips on these leads are incredibly pointy. I have stabbed myself a couple of times since I was using them, but that's okay. Pointy is good, especially when you're digging into an old PCB and you have sometimes some corrosion or what have you. It's nice to be able to pick at it with pointy tips. So anyway, there you go. Just like the Sanwa and the Unity, this pocket meter takes the CR2032 battery, the little button cells, if you want to call them. Does not ship with one, so that's going to cost you a couple bucks. Change it, simply take out that one Phillips screw like so, and you have easy access. Give it a pull. There is your button cell. Replace, you've got a little notched edge there. Just make sure that's in. Put the screw back in and you're good to go. Light emitting diode mode. Here we go. Well, let's call it diode / LED mode. Starting off with that red LED. It is lit, and we have a forward voltage drop over to the green. No can do, but it is lit. The yellow, yes, it's lit with a forward voltage drop, and over to the white. No, nothing. Not a piñata. And finally the blue. And once again, nothing. So 3 to 5 in terms of illumination and 2 to 5 in terms of displaying a forward voltage drop. Standard diodes, not an issue. Don't get that nice audible beep, but hey, there you go. A pretty decent 2.2 volts maximum output in diode mode. We're looking at resistance right now, sitting at 100 ohm according to that standard lab resistor. Very, very nice. All right, let's check out a couple of high precision resistors. This is from an old VOM kit, which I am currently working on. And these resistors are definitely high end. All of the resistors here are 1%, which is really nice. Let's just check the resistance on those test leads, shall we? And they are perfect. No resistance. So 1% tolerant resistor, and it's coming in at 70.8K. 70.8K. So do we see 70.8K? No, but we see a 71K right there, 71K. So that is very close. I've got a Sanwa LCR meter here, and I'm going to just compare that reading to the Sanwa. And that's coming in at 71.03K for the Sanwa. So awfully close to that Aneng. And once again, we were looking at 71K according to the description. So that's really nice when we have that kind of accuracy in a pocket meter. Let's try one more. This is so much fun. And 6.03 mega ohm, 6.03 mega ohm. And just for the heck of it, let's try the Sanwa LCR meter. 6.07 mega ohm. Funky. And if we look at that list, indeed we have a 6 mega ohm 1% tolerant resistor right there. Fantastic. Oh, shiver me timbers, matey, I gotta tell you. Just playing around with this case, you know, looking at it going, oh, nice case. Yeah, it's like interesting. What the? Yeah, it's got a tilt stand built into it. I had no idea. A tilt stand. Oh my God. So look at that. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. We now have a proper tilt stand. Good job, Aneng. Oh man, that is cool. And boy, does that meter ever look tiny when you put it right up against a full-size standard multimeter like the Aneng SZ20. Whoa, that is just gonna fit in your pocket. Well, frequency, a major addition to this little meter. Look at that, sitting at 2 megahertz right now. Awesome when you can measure frequency with a pocket meter. Let's just bring it up, shall we? 10 megahertz is what we're at now. 10 megahertz. Maxed out according to this function generator, but holy moly. Now, from what I've seen online, 4 megahertz seems to be the maximum advertised, but, well, I don't know. It's not what I'm seeing. 10 megahertz, looking good. Next up, we're looking at continuity. Now, I'm not going to be using the Pro Masters today because, well, yeah, because unfortunately, it would be a bit of a tight fit. Hang on a minute. Would that actually work? Would that actually work? Oh, that would be something. I was not planning on this, but you know what? If this works, who's your daddy? I'm telling you. Oh my goodness. Hang on. Hang on. Okay, we're in continuity. Probe Masters are kind of hanging in there. Here we go. No way it works! Oh my God. I had no idea. Or isn't that blatantly obvious? But No way, Jose, did I think the ProMasters would fit into this little meter, but they do, so it will be a regular continuity test as normal. Wow. Well, since the ProMasters are already in, I'm going to leave them in. We'll start with the ProMasters first. 3, 2, 1. Latched. It's not very loud, but it is fast. Okay, let's try the stock leads. Just so you get a general idea what a difference the test leads are. Wow. Okay, stock test leads. So obviously don't latch quite as quickly, and perhaps even a tiny bit lower volume-wise. Maximum output in continuity with the ProMasters, 66.4 dBA. Next up is capacitance. Now get a load of this. For the tiny Aneng, we have a maximum capacitance range of 4 millifarad, 4,000 microfarad. Pretty decent, and one of the big reasons why the upgraded version of the 101 is really such a cool thing. On the other hand, the Unity only has a capacitance range of a maximum 200 microfarad, 200 as opposed to 4,000. And the Sanwa, unfortunately, only goes up to 100 microfarad. Also take note, the fact that the Aneng does not have those captive leads is a huge deal. Why? Well, I can change my test leads. I want to check capacitance. I want to use something a little different, maybe like a crocodile style clip. And I can with the Aneng, which is absolutely awesome. This is a 2,700 microfarad capacitor. It has been discharged. I'm becoming a pro at that. And if you don't believe me, check out that video I did not long ago, a few weeks ago, when I was testing out a capacitance discharger. I put the link below. Yeah, awesome. Okay, here we go. I have the test leads in. It is thinking. We're in nanofarad mode now. Now we're in microfarad mode. Now we're in millifarad mode. 2.8 millifarad. Awesome. Awesome. By the way, I toasted that little 10 millifarad. I use this one all the time for my testing, but look at that. Look at those tips on this electrolytic. Oh, that was one of my favorite capacitors. Anyway. That's just weird. Try a couple of smaller caps. Now, and the neat thing as well with this Aneng is we can rel out in capacitance mode. So if you have any straight capacitance, right now we don't, but if we did, we just hit that select switch and it brings us into rel mode, zeroing out any of that straight capacitance. Once again, we don't have any, so that is a good thing, but really nice to have that rel feature nonetheless. Okay, 3.3 microfarad. Coming at 2.8. Finally, we have a 10 nanofarad capacitor. I don't know if this can get so low. Let's take a look. Coming in at 8.6 nanofarad. Perhaps a tad low, but well, there you go. Let me just confirm. And Unity's having a hard time with that 10 nanofarad as well, coming in at 20 nanofarad. You can see we also have that rel mode with the Sanwa. And let's try once again this 10 nanofarad. Coming in at just over 8 nanofarad, so similar to the Aneng. Just want to confirm that is a 10 nanofarad. And look at that. No, it's coming in at 8 nanofarad as well with the Sanwa. So go figure. So really those meters are in the ballpark. Oh, wow. So for all things considered, this is a pretty capable little meter, especially when we're talking about the price. 10, 11 bucks Canadian, around 7, 8 US. Wow, wow, and Wow. Not only that, we also have an extra feature here that the other meters don't have, and that is NCV, non-contact voltage. Let's give it a whirl, shall we? I'm going to try it here in the studio lighting, and look at that. Look at that. Wow. I wish it was a little louder audibly, but nonetheless, it is really sensitive here, picking up that live wire, no problem. Finally, look at the light switch, which does give a lot of meters run for the money in terms of NCV, and we are getting up to 2 bars, which is really phenomenal. Excellent. And finally, let's check out the high-powered mains. I don't think there's going to be a problem, and yeah, there's no problem. Here we are taking a look on the inside now. All 3 meters exposed. Sanwa on the far left, Unity on the right, and in the middle, star of the show, the Aneng AN101. And interesting enough, look at that. The only one with those input jacks, of course, the one that doesn't have captive test leads, of course, the Aneng. Here we have the captive leads of the Sanwa as well as the Unity. First thing that strikes me off the get-go is that poly fuse over here on the Unity on the milliamp range. Very, very nice. They all have, or do they all have? Yes, they do. They all have PTCs, every one of them. Just the, you know, quality, if you want to put, I would give it to the Sanwa. I mean, look at that. It's just pristine. But that being said, the Unity and the Aneng are definitely nothing to sneeze at. Here's the contact connector for the CR2032 battery, and here is a 10 mega ohm input resistor, and of course our little tiny current sensing resistor over there. Piezo here, and it's just stuck on by that kind of cheapy, cheesy tape. Nothing funky there. Not as elegant solution, for instance, as the Sanwa, which is actually soldered in, and you know, just a different way of doing fabrication, obviously. But let's not forget, this is, you know, a $50, $60 meter as opposed to a $7, $8 meter. So you get what you pay for, right? Moving further up the board here, we have that cobbed 48-pin QFP over here, also cobbed on the Unity. Other than that, pretty nice, fairly robust looking for a pocket multimeter. Okay, I pulled out the Aneng here on the reverse side. Look at that. Nothing else going on other than the PCB itself. Here are the pretty big solder blobs for those input jacks of the split variety. Hey, not too shabby. Man, those are massive blobs. Good stuff. Take a close look at those rotary selector tracks. There is no dielectric or grease whatsoever on here. I'm going to put a bit of dielectric before I put this back together, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. Other than that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rotary selector tracks, and it is not the ball and spring. No, we have that plastic housing here, making contact with the ridges over here for that selector. Nonetheless, very robust, and no worries there. Nice soft touch buttons here at the top. And as well, here we have our elastomer for the display, and we have these little pin outs or pin ins, or I'm not sure what you want to call them, but this is what the PCB attaches into, so it puts a little bit of force down on the display itself, giving us that nice clear vibrant LCD display. Oddly enough, the non-contact voltage performance was surprisingly very good. Now, I say surprisingly because I'm not seeing anything on here that looks like it has anything to do with NCV. Now, we do have a blob of solder here. Now, I mean, is that part of our non-contact voltage? What? I don't see any sort of antenna or protruding extrusion. You know, the whole kit and caboodle. But anyway, well, bizarre. Closing thoughts on the Aneng AN101 Pocket Multimeter. Oh, this is a keeper. Man, talk about value. I haven't seen such value, I don't know if ever, in the multimeter realm. $7-8 gets you one quality test instrument. I mean, it's nuts. Aneng really did a bang-up job when it comes to the 101. Man, they addressed everything, including the lack of capacitance or frequency. You name it, they came up to bat and they struck a home run. Hey, there's a couple things that aren't the greatest. Let's face it, there was so-so LED performance, and the test leads, man, are they ever thin and short. Plus a manual, well, you know what, that would really come in handy. Still, at the end of the day, I mean, you're getting extremely high accuracy, a vibrant 4,000 count LCD display with upgrades galore, and whoa, talk about fast continuity. And let's not forget that awesome crazy case design. It works so well. Now, do yourself a favor, don't pick up one of these, pick up two. It's just that good. The Aneng AN101 Pocket Multimeter gets a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. You almost made it, almost. Thanks for watching this review, everybody. Till the next one, keep on testing.